Hello all, thanks for joining us today. Here is a quick review of a recent crash that could have been avoided if the driver had followed his CDL training. The driver survived the crash in this example, but was severely shaken by his experience. Our examination of the circumstances of the crash and calculations of speeds, curve radii, and turning forces are entirely our own. We offer this example as a learning exercise for active CMV drivers, not to cast blame. Few of us studied physics, but all trucks are subject to the laws of physics. The road surface glistened with rain as Jeffrey Walker guided his semi-truck across the Ohio River, heading southbound on I-65 toward the interchange with I-64 in Louisville. As he attempted to navigate the connector ramp, his rig began to slide. In those terrifying seconds, physics took over. His truck left the roadway and plunged off the elevated ramp. The fuel tanks ruptured on impact, and the tractor erupted in flames. Trapped in the burning cab and facing a fiery death, Walker desperately kicked open the passenger door, slid down the trailer, and leaped to the ground below. Later, from his hospital bed, he would tell investigators he didn't know what had happened. Sir Isaac Newton had explained what happened 400 years ago. A body in motion will remain in motion until acted upon by an external force. Motion or momentum has both magnitude and direction. To change that direction, a force must be applied. Even unloaded, Walker's rig weighed approximately 30,000 pounds. Changing the direction of 30,000 pounds in motion requires significant force derived from the steering tire's contact with the pavement. When that contact patch is wet, the friction coefficient drops dramatically, reducing the steering force available to alter the truck's path. The result was inevitable, a crash that nearly cost Walker his life. CDL manuals are clear on this point. When road surfaces are wet, commercial vehicles must reduce their speed by 1/3 below the posted limit. Physics doesn't negotiate. Let's look at the numbers. If we assume the tractor weighed in at 16,000 pounds and half the weight was carried by the steer tires, they had a normal force of 8,000 pounds on the two tires, or 4,000 pounds per tire. If Walker was driving at the posted limit, the truck was required to make a change of direction of about 30 degrees in 5 seconds, or thereabouts. That requires a side force of 7,000 pounds or 3,500 pounds per tire. What was available on a wet surface? To exert 7,000 pounds of side force would require a coefficient of friction of 0.875 between the tires and the road surface. That might have been possible on a dry surface, but the maximum coefficient for a wet pavement is 0.6. Thus, at 50 miles an hour, the truck could not make the turn. It continued straight ahead, through the guardrail, and over the edge. Would slowing down by the amount recommended in the CDL manual have saved the day? Yes. By lowering speed by 30%, the required side force is cut in half. Thus, the required side force would have been 3,500 pounds, which required a coefficient of friction of 0.44. Message to all drivers from this crash: slow down and live.